We're back live from the Eye at the Potato Expo right here in the Austin Convention Center. And you see who my next guest is. Featured speaker. Simon is with us. Simon is actually taking over the reins from me being the host of the Spud Nation Throwdown, and in much better hands.
That after.
No, it's true. So not only at 5 o'clock are we going to have the Spud Nation Throwdown competition, Simon is going to intersperse it with all kinds of potato facts, and then tomorrow he'll be back to do a culinary demonstration. Again, now, let's talk about the culinary demonstration first.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing 2 dishes. What are they?
2 dishes. So the first dish is going to be from my Indian background. My father is from India. So we're going to take mashed potato. It's a way of using leftover mashed potato. And we're going to fry off some onions and chili and ginger and garlic, all kinds of wonderful Indian spices. And we're going to mix that into the mashed potato, make little balls, and then dip those in a batter of chickpea flour. So it's a gluten-free dish. Dip it and then deep fry them. And then we're going to serve that with a chutney. So it's a Mumbai street food. Really lovely, spicy and delicious.
So basically it's an upscale, more flavorful, more interesting tater tot.
That's exactly what it is. Batata vada, which
say it again.
Batata, potato.
Okay.
Comes from the original word potato, from vada, so fried. So it's basically a fried potato, but it's one of those things you'd buy for a few cents on the streets in Mumbai, and we're going to do a slightly more upscale version of it. But it's gluten-free. It's wonderful. You can do it as an appetizer. You can do it as a canapé. I cook it all the time. The second one is actually a really super simple dish, but I saw it in Italy. Recently we're in Livorno, and whenever I'm traveling, I always try and pick up dishes. And this is a potato that we're going to get a big potato, parboil it, so half kind of cook it, slice it, and then immediately, while it's still hot, toss it in flour and parmesan, lots of grated parmesan and flour. The heat will make that stick to it. We're then going to shallow fry it, and it makes it puff up a little bit. Not quite like a souffle potato, but the outside gets really crunchy and golden. The inside gets really, really soft and pillowy. Then we're going to top that with sour cream, microgreens, and then what we're also going to do, if I have time, we're going to get the skins that we've cleaned off, and we're going to deep fry those to make like a potato crackling to go in the middle. So that's something that they serve with like a bistecca fiorentina in Italy. So I saw it at this restaurant. I just thought it would be a nice 2 dishes, quite a lot to do in 45 minutes. So I thought the second one would do this super simple side dish that anyone could do at home.
So this is why he's the new host of the Spud Nation Throwdown. So what, this is your first time at the Potato Expo. Yeah. You've had a chance to walk around a bit, talk to some folks. What's your impression?
Well, first of all, I'm blown away by just the sheer amount of technology that's involved in potato growing, and that's silly because I spend a lot of time with farmers. I spend a lot of time working with people, but when you see it all come together and you see how this crop is followed from pre-seed almost with the science there all the way through to the consumer, and how it's not just regulated but just managed, I think is extraordinary to get yields for the farmers, to get variety to the consumers. So I think part of my job as someone who deals with the consumers as well as with the farmers is to try and help them tell that story. Because I think a lot of people, the average person, I don't mean that in a mean way, but the general person outside has no idea. No. And I think sometimes we need to talk about that. We need to talk about the amount of work that farmers do to get those crops onto our tables, something that we can go into any supermarket, particularly a potato that's so ubiquitous, and people will take that for granted just as they go and put a couple of potatoes. And I want to be able to say to people, wow, look at this. And that's also why I write history on Eat My Globe, is I've done the history of potatoes. It goes back thousands of years, and in the Andes they still have 4,000 types of potato. Can you imagine? 4,000 types of potato. So that's the other thing, is seeing all these hardworking people here. I want to try and connect them with chefs as well, because I think that's one of the hardest things as well, is to talk to chefs, particularly when we go through all the craziness of keto and Atkins, and people go, oh, potatoes. Right. And I think part of it is just going, let's talk about the nutrition. Let's talk about the reality of what's in a potato. Let's talk about the variety. So if you don't want to necessarily eat a big bowl of mashed potato, and who wouldn't want to eat a big bowl of mashed potato? But let's talk about beautiful salads made out of some of these smaller artisanal potatoes that are out there. I mean, so that's my role, I think, is a kind of conduit between the consumer and the chefs and the growers. And that's what I'm trying to find out more about here.
That's great, and we're thrilled to have you here. You fit us in between Food Network, in between Asia travels, in between your podcast, and I understand that your current podcast is all about fish and chips.
Well, the first episode of season 1, again, Eat My Globe, if anyone wants to go and check it out.
Go check it out, it's fabulous.
Thank you. I wrote about fish and chips because I thought I'm going to write about my favourite meal in the world, what I would have as a Brit for my last meal. And potatoes, of course, are central to that. But it has a great history because the potatoes or chips came from Belgium, and it was a result of religious persecution. Belgian Huguenots used to fry potatoes, got thrown out and ended up in London. At the same time, Jewish people in Portugal who fried fish in batter got thrown out and ended up in London. Sort of met in the same part of London, intermarried, and started selling them together.
I never knew.
And so fish and chips, the most British dish of all,
right,
is a result of religious persecution in Belgium and Portugal, which is a great story. But fish and chips, to me, and I was just talking to a journalist earlier, I'm a great believer in triple cooking my chips. 3, they've got to be these big fat ones, none of your flappy little fries. Right. They're big fat English chips you've got to have with your fish and chips. And that's my favourite, and I love cooking them. I triple cook them. Parboil them in water, shallow fry them in a kind of lighter temperature, about 325 till they're blanched, and then final fry when you're ready. And they're really crunchy on the outside and soft and pillowy in the middle. Wonderful stuff.
So when you look at the competitors, the 3 chefs who are competing today, what are you going to be looking for as someone who has been a judge on, Top Chef and all these Food Network shows, besides hosting the competition? Just from an education standpoint, what are you going to be looking for them to be doing that's slightly different than somebody else who cooks potatoes?
Well, we have 3 fantastic chefs, and they've taken different approaches.
Saw that.
What I love, just in the description of the dishes, and I don't know if we'll see how they carry it out, is the potato is the star. So it's not something that they've got a dish and they've just slotted a potato in, and I can see that immediately, and I know that from judging, and I go, yeah, this is a dish you've done and you've put X in because that's the secret ingredient. I go, I get it, it's tasty, but you're not kind of staying true. So they have really articulated kind of potato as a kind of wonderful dish. They've all put very different techniques. We're seeing smoking, we're going to see obviously some frying. We've seen one putting a very Texas angle on the dish, so I'm looking forward to that. So these are chefs, so we're going to see techniques. And I'm going to be looking at the techniques, talking to them about it, sharing with the people on Facebook those techniques so you can try them at home. But here's the thing with chefs. Sometimes there are things that, however good I think I am as a cook, I can't try at home because these guys are better than me, and that's just the reality of a chef. But it's fun to watch. And in the end, the reality is of all these things, you can have all the technique and everything else. It's got to taste good. It's food in the end. You can put all the magic into it, but if it tastes kind of horrible, you're going to lose.
Right, taste
so it's
is always
still got to be, taste is still number 1.
And what advice are you going to give to the judges? We've got 5 judges. We've got Addie Broyles from the Austin Statesman, food editor. We've got Kathy Strange, who's Global Innovation Director for Whole Foods Markets.
Wonderful.
John Keeling, CEO. We've got 2 growers. What kind of advice are you going to give to them of what they should be looking for?
I always look at it in kind of 3 ways. Does it taste good? First of all, does it look great? Because we do really look at things with our eyes first. We look at a dish, and if it doesn't look good, we kind of don't particularly want to eat it. But then the creativity. I want to see that the chefs have shown creativity using potatoes. Have they used a variety of potatoes? Have they cooked them in different ways? So I want the chefs. And I'll say the same to the chefs, sell your dish. And it's one of the most important things when you do any competition show, as I know and I've cooked in them, sell your dish. Sell it as a potato dish to potato people.
And what's interesting about the Throwdown is not only we'll be watching them cooking it and presenting it, but then they have a chance to get in front of the judges and tell the story of their dish. And that's really what is, frankly, over the years that we've been doing the Throwdown, has really changed some of the judges' point. And it's all done electronically and so on, because when they hear the story of where it comes from and how they made it, it gives more information than just seeing it and tasting it.
Always sell it, tell a story, tell about why you came up with that dish. The only thing I always say you must never, ever, ever, and I might do it tomorrow in my demo, play what I call the G card, the grandmother card. You don't go, this is something my grandmother taught me, because you just know that's a lie, and I'm going to throw you out. I'm going to stop the competition there and then. I've done it myself before.
Love it. Well, Simon, thank you for joining
Always
us at
a
the
pleasure.
Potato Expo. And we're going to take a break. We're going to talk to the judges now, and we're going to find out what they're doing. We're going to talk to two of the chefs who are competing. We talked to Addie Broyles earlier today. We'll be talking to Kathy Strange from Whole Foods in a bit of time, and really looking forward to this year's Spud Nation Throwdown, so I can sit in the audience and I can take it all in.
Have a glass of potato beer.
Exactly. I haven't tried. Have you tried it yet?
I haven't, no. I'm after the show.
Okay, fair
After the
enough.
show, not before. Who knows what could happen?
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with more.